green marble crochet tutorial. For this tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to make this very quick, very simple cutout flower granny circle square summer beach dress design that I've come up with. Really quick, really simple to make. There's not a lot that goes into it. I'd say the flower is probably the most complicated part, but we go through that step by step, so it's okay. Also, I didn't add links for the straps because it's double crochet, so it's very easy to thread the straps through at the end when you need to do it up. So that's it. I think that's all I need to tell you. We can probably just get straight into making it. However, if you haven't subscribed but you would like to subscribe to join me for some more tutorials, I would love to have you join me. Big thank you to my patrons. Thank you for your support. Thank you to my subscribers. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching my videos. Yes. If you need to get in contact with me for anything, if you need help with anything, or if you like my designs and you just like what I do, I'm going to leave all my relevant links in the description below so that you can get in contact with me if you need to. That's it. That's all I need to say. We can just get straight into making this. Alright, now to begin with, we're going to have a quick look at the tiny details on the label of the yarn that we're using. So that's this one here. If you need more time to look at anything, just pause the video. I also just want to mention quickly that if at any point during the tutorial you feel like I'm going too fast, there's a feature in YouTube where you can slow down the speed of the video. So I just suggest using that so that you can keep up at your own pace. Alright, so here we've got some tiny relevant details. And it's saying here that I should be using a 5mm hook. Some more tiny relevant details, which I'm not going to. I'm going to be using a 4 for this project, just because I want the stitches to be a little tighter than they would be if I was using a 5. So that's what we're doing. Alright, I think we can just begin. So what we're going to do to begin with is we're going to take the end of our yarn, and you're going to take the end of the yarn between the thumb and the index finger of your right hand. So between those two fingers, you're going to take the end, and with the index finger and the middle finger of your left hand, you're going to wind the working end around like so. And I'm going to be leaving quite a tail for this as well. You're going to grab the working end like so and pull through a loop, just like that. Now what you're going to do is you're going to get your hook, you're going to insert it through that loop, grab that working end and pull tight. Alright, now what we need to do to begin is we need to chain a length of 16. And to make a chain stitch, it is yarn over, pull through a loop, that's one chain, yarn over, pull through a loop, 2 chains, yarn over, pull through a loop. So that's 3 chains, and we're going to be chaining 16. Alright, so here I am with that length of 16 chains. So what we're going to do now is, so what you normally do when you're doing something like this is you make a chain circle. So to do that you would chain 4 and you would slip stitch into the first chain, and that would give you that little chain circle. But I'm not going to be doing, you could also do a magic circle, which is something completely different. But anyway, what we're doing with this is something a bit different. For this, I'm going to be working into the very beginning chain. So that first one just there, that's what I'm going to be putting my stitches into. And what we're going to be putting into them is what is known as a triple treble crochet. And to make a triple treble crochet, what we're going to do is yarn over once, yarn over twice, 3 times, 4 times. Then, like I said, we're working our way back to that first chain just there. You're going to insert your hook into that very first chain, grab that yarn, yarn over, pull through a loop. Then you're going to yarn over, pull through 2, 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 yarn over, pull through those final 2. So you're going to be yarning over and pulling through 2 5 times for a triple treble crochet. Yes. Now what we're going to do is we're going to chain a length of 9. So 1, 2, 3, chaining 9. Alright, and here I am with that length of 9. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put another triple treble into that 2, 3, 4, into that very first chain just there, in beside that first one we did. So just inserting your hook back into that, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, 2, 2, and 2. Now, what we want to do is we want to put, so we're including this beginning chain just here as one of the spokes. So you'll be counting 1, 2, 3, and we're going to be having 6 spokes into that beginning chain. So I'm going to, sorry, get a little bit tongue-tied. So what we're going to be doing is putting 9 chains between each of the spokes. So I'm going to chain another 9, put in another triple treble, and we want to end up with 6 spokes. So I'm going to do another 3, and I will meet you at the end to show you how it looks, and we'll move to round 2 together. Alright, so here I am about to chain my last 9, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, what I'm going to do is, with this chain right at the beginning, we're going to count 6 up from the beginning just here. So we've gone into that very first chain, that's the second one just there, but we're going to be counting 6 up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and this one just here is 6. So I'm going to keep my finger on it just there. And what we're going to be doing is inserting our hook into the top part of that chain just there. So just in there, go in, yarn over, pull through a loop, and then pull that loop through the last loop on your hook, just like that. So now we've closed round 1. So that's what round 1 should look like. You can see you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spokes with 9 chains between each. So now what we're going to do, moving on to round 2, is we're going to chain up 2. So 1 and 2. And this chain of 2 sort of represents the stitch that would be above this chain just here, because each spoke is going to have a stitch above it, but we'll get to that. What we're going to do for now is we're going to yarn over, go into the first chain with a double crochet. So you're going to go into that top part of the chain just there, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That's a double crochet. You're going to put another double crochet into the next chain. So another double crochet. Now for the next chain, it's going to be a half double crochet. So you're going to go into the next chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 3. And that's a half double crochet. Now into the next chain, you're just going to put a single crochet. So go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and that's a single crochet. Now into the next one, we're just going to be putting a slip stitch. So you're going to go in, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull that through the last stitch on your hook. Now, to reflect this side, what we're going to do is we're going to put a single crochet into the next chain, a half double crochet into the chain after that, a double crochet into the next chain, double crochet, and another double crochet into the chain after that, just like so. So there we go, there we've got our first petal complete. So now what we're going to do, like I said, there's going to be a stitch above each spoke, but what you're doing is you're not going through the whole of the stitch, and by that I mean you're not going beneath both parts of that V that's on top of the stitch just there. You're just going to be going into the top back part like this, and that's going to keep the pattern consistent across the whole flower. So just like that, and you'll see how that is in the end when you've done it all. So now what you're going to do is you're going to repeat this process that you've done here. So double crochet, half double crochet, single crochet, slip stitch, single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet, and then that's double crochet above the spoke. So you're going to do that for all of the, there should be 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 petals around. We'll do that separately. We'll meet back up and we'll see how it looks. Alright, see you soon. Alright, so here I am at the end of the round, and as you can see, it's starting to look a lot more like a 6-pointed flower. So what we're going to do is looking for the stitch at the top of this chain of 2. So you can see here's the chain of 2. I need to focus a bit better. Alright, so here's that chain of 2 from the beginning. The stitch at the top of that is what we're going to slip stitch into. So you're going to stick your hook beneath both parts of that stitch, pull through a loop, pull that through the last loop on your hook, just like that. Alright, and that's round 2. So now we're going to move on to round 3, and to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to chain up 2, and we're going to turn the work. And we're going to be working into the other side of the stitches. So what we're going to do is we're going to yarn over. You're going to be putting a stitch into the chain, the stitch right there beneath that chain of 2, and your last stitch is going to be into the chain just there right beneath the chain of 2 as well. So this is quite different to what I usually do. It's just that to get the right amount of stitches that I'm going to need at the end of this round, this is what I have to do. Well, this is what we have to do. So like I said, you're going into that first stitch, and what you're going to be doing is you're going to be putting 2 stitches into every 20th. So you're going to be going into that one just there, so that's going to be 1 with a double crochet. We're doing double crochets, by the way. So 2. So yes, like I said, every 20th is going to have 2 stitches, and the last one, so that will be, there's going to be 3 extra stitches for this round. So by the end of this round, you're going to have a total of 60 stitches. I'll meet you at the end of this and we'll have a look at it together. All right, now then, I'm at the end of round 3. So what we're going to do is once again look for that stitch above the chain of 2 from the beginning. So the chain of 2 from the beginning is going to look a little bit different because we chained up and we turned. But as you can see, it's right there. Let's focus a bit better. So there it is right there. So you're going to be looking for that stitch above once again, just into there like that. You're going to yarn over, pull through that loop, pull it through that last loop on your hook to close the round. So now, once again, we're going to be chaining up 2. We're going to do another circle before we move on to the square. So chaining up 2, turning again. So this time, because we've got the right amount of stitches that we need, we're not going to be putting our first stitch into that one right beneath the chain of 2. Our first stitch is going to be into this. Oh, I forgot to show you as well. So that final stitch had those 2 into that 20th, and then going back to the previous 20th. Where are we? Just there. Oh, so rough. All right, so just there. We've got 2 into that one as well. I just want to show you that. Anyway, so I have faith that you did the right thing anyway. So we've chained up 2, we've turned, and like I said, we're working into the second stitch along, not that one just there. And what we're going to be doing for this round, double crochets again, we're going to be putting 2 stitches into every 7th stitch. So what have we got? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So 2 stitches into that 7th one just there. So just like that. That lighting is horrible. That's better. Alright, so that's what you're doing the whole way around. Yeah, that's it. So I'm not quite sure. Hang on a second. Okay, yes, it's 72. By the end of this round, you should have a stitch count of 72. So just give that a count when you get to the end. We'll meet back up at that stage and we'll talk about how we're going to be turning this circle into a square. All right, and see you then. All right, so here we are at the end of round 4. What is it? 1, 2, 3, yep, 4. And once again, we're going to be slip stitching into that stitch at the top of the chain 2 from the beginning. So that one just there, you're going to slip stitch to close the round, just like that. Alright, so now turning this circle into a square. And what we have to do that is we need to chain up 1 and turn. Now, once again, we're going to be treating this chain as the first stitch. And that sort of represents the space right beneath that chain, just there, or right beneath the chain. So what we're going to do, I'm going to take you through this in I'm going to show you how to do a quarter, and then you'll know how to do the other 3 parts. So it's going to involve a corner section. So we'll go through it stitch by stitch, and you can just follow that process 3 more times after this. Except you got to remember, no, you'll see. So count this chain of 1 as a single crochet. Just count it as that. And what we're going to do into the next stitch, I'm going to actually focus this better so you can really see what I'm doing. Next stitch is a single crochet, so that right there, we've got 2 single crochets, hypothetically. Now, the next 3 stitches along are going to be half double crochet. So it's yarn over, go in, pull up, yarn over, pull through 3. So that's 1, 2, 3 half double crochets. Now into the next 3 stitches along, it's going to be 3 double crochets. So it's going to be 1, 2, and bumping the camera, 3 double crochets along. Now, what we're going to be doing into the next stitch, well actually the next 2 stitches are going to have clusters of 3, and it's going to be clusters of 3 triple crochets. Well, that's what I call it. Anyway, triple crochets. So to do that, what we do is we yarn over once, yarn over twice, go into that next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's a triple crochet, and we're going to do 2 more of these into that same stitch. And this is what's going to help form the corner. So another one. So that's 3 triple crochets into that stitch, and into the next stitch you're going to do another 3 triple crochets into the same stitch. So 1, 2, and 3 into that next stitch. So what you're going to do now here is you're going to be mirroring what you did on this side of the corner. So you're going to put 3 double crochets along, so a double crochet into the next 3 stitches. So 1, 2, and 3. Now into the next 3 stitches it's going to be a half double crochet, so 1, 2, and 3. Then into the next 2, well actually into the next 4 stitches, but we're doing it sort of in quarters. So for this quarter it's going to be a single crochet into the next 2 stitches. So now you're just going to repeat that process, with that chain of 1 being the hypothetical first stitch of a single crochet. So you're going to be doing, let's just talk through it. So you're going to be doing single crochet, half double crochet, half double crochet, half double crochet, double crochet, double crochet, double crochet, 3 triple crochets, another 3 triple crochets into the next stitch, double crochet, double crochet, double crochet, half double crochet, half double crochet, half double crochet, single crochet, single crochet, and that is a quarter. So you've got 3 more of those to do till you get to the end. Once we've done that, we're going to meet back up and we're going to talk about where we're going to go from there. All right, and see you soon. All right, now here I am at the end of the square. So what we're going to do is we're going to look for the stitch above that chain of 1 from the beginning. So I think it's that one just there. We're going to shove our hook through, pull up a loop, pull through the last loop on the hook to close that square. So now what we're going to do is we're going to chain up 2. So 1, 2, we're going to turn the work. And we're going to be, you can skip that first stitch right beneath that chain of 2. So we're not going to be working into those from now on. You're going to yarn over, put a double crochet into the next stitch along. And you're going to be putting a double crochet into every stitch all the way till you get up to the last triple crochet of the first cluster along just here. So here's that first cluster, and there's the second one along. So the last stitch of this first cluster is going to be that stitch just there. And the way you can tell which part of the stitch you need to be working into, especially with the bigger stitches, it's really easy. So this is the spoke of the stitch that you're working into. If you were working, say this is the stitch, if you were working into the braided side of the stitch with the braided side facing towards you, the part that you would need to put your hook into to work the stitch would fall to the top right hand side of that spoke. So there's that spoke there, the braid falls to the top right hand side. But because you're working into the unbraided side, where are we? So that's the stitch we're working into. The part that you need to put your hook into to work the stitch is at the top left hand side of that spoke. So that's just a way that you can tell, make it easier for you to see where you're up to and what you need to do. So when you get to that stitch, you're going to be putting in 3 double crochets. So we're not doing triple crochets anymore, just double crochets. You're going to be putting 3 double crochets into the last of that first cluster, so into that one just there, and another 3 double crochets into the next stitch along. So this is to form the corner again. So that's the first of the second cluster. So 3 double crochets. Then you'll just be putting a double crochet into each stitch till you get to the next corner where you're going to do the same thing. You're going to put 3 double crochets into the last of that first cluster and 3 double crochets into the first of the second cluster. And you're just going to do that the whole way around. Repeat that process for all the corners. Once you get to the end of the round, you're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain 2 from the beginning, chain up 2 and turn the work. So we're going to be doing this round and another round. After that, I'm going to see how it looks. We're going to meet back up and we're going to see what we're going to do from there, because honestly, at this point, it's still fairly experimental, which is quite something to say because I've been working on this design for a while now and I'm still not 100% sure about the direction that I want to take, you know. Anyway, so here we are at the last of this cluster. So we're just going to work 3 double crochets into that. All right, I'm going to see you at the end of, not this round, but the round after that. And by round, I mean square. So we'll meet back up then and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. All right, see you soon. All right, so I've reached the end and finished my 7th square. So what this initially this design was going to be with sleeves, just little sleeves on the side, and it was going to kind of be a backless dress, and it's still going to be backless, but it's going to be with straps. And I just feel like it's going into summer more and more these days. It's getting less cool, so I've scrapped the sleeves idea for the moment. I still really like the idea of that design. I mean, I have worked on it a fair bit and it looks good, but I'm going to put that aside till maybe summer going into autumn, something like that. We'll do that then. For now, we're going to just do something completely different. So what I'm going to do, I think, I'm going to chain up 2, I'm going to turn. I'm going to do 4 more rounds or squares till this gives me good coverage at the front. So it covers my chest completely, at which point I'm going to do something else. So what I'm going to do after that is I'm going to crochet off the bottom section. So the straps will be added to the top on either side and they'll sort of link behind, or, you know, cross over behind or whatever. We'll see how it goes at the end, and sort of weave through the sides. Let's look. I'm going to go away. I'm going to do my 4 more rounds. I'm going to see how that looks. I think it's going to look good. I'm actually really liking the way this looks. It looks really good. I will show you at some point how to weave in this bit just here. Well, you know what? I'm going to show you now. Good as time as any. As good a time as any. So what you're going to do is you're going to find, well, I'm going to find a smaller hook. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use that to weave this through. So as you can see here, we've got this on the right side. This is going to be the right side of the work. And the way I can tell which the right side is because the original chain has the braided side facing towards me, and I want that to be the right side of my work. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn it over, and that loose end just there, you'll see on the back of the chain, you've got the braid on one side. On the back, there's a bump on the back of that chain, and that's the 3rd part of the chain. So what you're going to do is you're going to, I hope you can see this, maybe I can zoom in a little. I've never done that before. Yes, like sort of, oh, that's awful. Let's zoom out. So let's just like maybe zoom to about there. Focus. All right, so you can see there's that bump on the back of the chain. I've just stuck my hook through that and I'm going to weave this loose end through those bumps on the back of the chain. So there's that next bump along. I'm just going to stick my hook through that if I can, which normally I can. Actually, maybe I can use a smaller hook even. Let's be cheeky. Let's use a smaller hook. So there's the smaller one. We're just going to stick it through that bump just there. And yeah, that's what you're going to do all the way till you get to the last bump just at the top, just here. So you're going to weave them in like that, and then just move on to weaving it through the backs of the stitches, you know, just to hide the loose end away like that. And you'll find that that actually hides it perfectly well. And that's how that goes. All right, I hope I've explained that well. Let's zoom out again. Hang on. Oh, I never want to do that again. All right, so that's that. Like I said, I'm going to go away. I'm going to finish up 4 more rounds. We'll meet back up and we'll see what we're going to do next. All right, see you soon. All right, I've done several rounds since we last spoke, which has given me a total of 11 rounds all up, including the flower design. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to grab my scissors and I'm going to cut the yarn. I'm just going to cut a little bit there. I'll be able to weave that in later. So what you're going to do now is just pull that chain through like so. Pull tight. Because what we're going to do now is, okay, so this is going to be the side, because actually remember we've got the braided side of that original chain is going to be on the right side, the outside. So figure out which side you want to be, the top or the bottom. So for me this is going to be the top, I think. Yes, this is the top, so this is going to be the bottom, and I've got the right side sort of laying down facing me just like this. See? All right, so what we're going to do now is, I'm actually really happy with this giant square because I'm only going to need to do, I think, maybe 1 or 2 rows of this before I need to chain a length that's going to wrap around my back, and I'll attach it to the other side to begin the skirt. So that's really good. But what we're going to do now to begin with is we're going to take the end of our yarn, so just picking up where you cut the yarn and left off, you're going to make a slip knot. So making, I don't need it to be that long, that tail, so just make a slip knot. We're going, okay, now, so I said this is the bottom. Now you've got to make sure that you're working into the wrong side of the stitch, and by wrong side I mean not the braided side, because we want to keep the back and forth continuity of the pattern going. So what we're going to do is we're going to, hang on, let me just think for a second. All right, yes, so I just wanted to make sure that this thing that I want to do is going to work out, which it is. So what we're going to do is to make sure the side is sort of even, sort of runs evenly into the next part. What we're going to do is we're going to work into the 2 last stitch, or the 2 stitches of this cluster, just the second cluster on the corner just here, because obviously we're working with this cluster along the bottom. You'll see what I mean. This cluster goes towards the skip. Okay, I need some water. My mouth gets dry when I talk too much. All right, now this cluster is obviously going to go towards the stitch count of the bottom just here. But to make it sort of flush with the side, we're going to be working in the 2 last stitches of this cluster. So here's this cluster just here. Let's focus better. I don't know, that's not great lighting. That's better. All right, so here's that cluster. You're going to work into the second one along on that. Picking up that slip knot you just made, you're going to adjust that to the hook, pull it through that stitch. Now, if the wrong side is facing you, what you want to do, which is not facing me, but I'll just show you what you want to do. What you want to do is you want to sort of pull it tight, but also pull the loose end to the back with you, just like that, so you're crocheting it in on the inside, just so it doesn't, you know, minimizes messiness, you know. Just a little tip there. Okay, so we're pulling it through that second stitch along on that bit just there. So we pull tight, not too tight. We're going to chain up 2, and this chain of 2 is going to represent that stitch that we've just put a slip knot into. And what we're going to do is we're going to yarn over. We're going to go into the next stitch along, which is the last of that cluster on the side. Going to pull up a loop and sort of stretch it a bit loose, just like that. Hang on, no, that's fine. Yes, stretch it a bit loose like that. And now what you're going to do is you're going to yarn over. You're going to go into the first of this cluster on the bottom side. Go in, yarn over, pull up a loop. You're going to yarn over, pull through all of these loops except for the last one. So there's pull through 4 loops, just like this, yarn over, pull through 2. So you've sort of done 2 double crochets together. And now what you're going to do is you're going to put a double crochet into each stitch along until you get to the last stitch, and we'll do it together, you know. We'll do it together on that side as well. So let's have a look at what we've done. So as you can see, it sort of makes it a little more flush with the side just there. Anyway, I may only need to do this row before we get on to doing the skirt, which is awesome. I'm really happy because I've got so much yarn left, which potentially means that I can make a fairly long skirt, which I do want to do. Yes, yes I do. Alright, I'll see you at the end of this row. Alright, now I've reached the last stitch, so that's the last one of this first cluster on the corner just here. What I'm going to do is yarn over, go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, go into the first stitch just here, yarn over, pull up a loop, then we're going to yarn over again, go into the next one, yarn over, pull up a loop, and sort of bring it up to meet where you are just on the side here. And what you're going to do is yarn over, pull through all 6 of those loops, and not including the last one, obviously that's the 7th, so just pull through 6 loops, yarn over, pull through 2. So there we go, and that's left that kind of flush with the side just there as well to make it even with the other side. Alright, that's good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to check to see if now is the time where I want to add the skirt. I'll be right back. Alright, yes, I am ready to put in the skirt. So what I have to do now is I have to chain a length that when I hold this up to where the bottom half just here is going to sit. So for me, it's just beneath my belly button. And I'm chaining a length that's going to wrap around my back and meet at the other side. So what you're going to do with this chain is make sure it's sort of not too loose. So it kind of snug, because when you go to put in the double crochets, it kind of expands the width of the chain a little. So just bear that in mind when you're doing this chain, especially if you're doing it lower down, because you can do that. You can sort of do a few more rows down to sort of maybe, I don't know, a few more centimeters below your belly button, and you can put the skirt in there. But if it is too low at the back, you know, it's potentially bad. Anyway, so I'm going to chain that length. So just chaining like this, 1, 2, 3, whatever amount of chains you need to do. And then we'll just be turning it around and joining it to the first stitch along on here. So for me, that will be that one just there. Anyway, I'm going to go away, chain my length, and I'll see you soon. Alright, so I've chained my length, and I chained 66 chains, which including the 44 stitches has given me a total stitch count of 110. So that's what I'm working with. Now what I'm doing is turning this around like so, and I'm going to join this chain just straight to the first stitch along on the side just here. So just into the stitch above that chain of 2 that we did right at the end, you're just going to slip stitch into that stitch to close up. So just like that. There we go. And now what we're going to do is we're going to chain up 2, so 1, 2, turn the work. And what we're going to be doing is working in to the back of the chain. So like we wove in the loose bit at the beginning into the back of that chain, we're going to be putting double crochets into those bumps on the back of the chain. So that one just there, see? If you sort of, So I've chained up 2, I've turned, I'm going to yarn over, and as you can see, there's that first bump is just there. So that's going to be number 1. You're going to go into that bump like so. That first one can always be a little bit tricky, annoying and tricky. Where are we? There we are. Oh no, it seems okay, it's not too bad. There we go. Alright, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2. So like I said, I've got 66, so I'll count along as I go, just working into those bumps on the back of the chain. And then I'm going to move straight onto the stitches after the chain. Where are we? I'll show you. I probably don't need to stick with you for that. So once you've done all those bumps on the back of the chain, you're just going to move straight into the first stitch along on the front just here. Work up to the end. Once you get to the last stitch, which will be that one just there, I think. Count your stitches, count however many you've got, or you think you should have. It might be that one just there. So I should have 110. And then once you get to the end, you're going to slip stitch into the top of that chain of 2 to close the round, chain up 2, turn. And at this point, I'm going to be doing rounds, no increases yet, until I reach the top of my hips. So I'm not quite sure how many rounds that's going to be. Maybe that would be like 2 or 3 rounds. Not sure. I'm going to do it. I will meet back up with you once I've done that, and we'll talk about how we're going to increase for the skirt. Alright, see you soon. Alright, now then, I've done several rounds and I'm ready to start increasing for the hips. So I've done 9 rounds, all up from when we first started the skirt. So it's 9 rounds, and it's now sort of sitting just at the top of my hip area, so I'm definitely ready to put in the increases now. So what we're going to do for that is we're just going to chain up 2 and turn, begin a round as normal. But what I'm going to be doing is, because I like a nice sort of gradual increase, I'm going to be putting 2 double crochets into every 20th stitch around. And I'm going to do that for every 5th round. So we're going to be doing it for this one. Then after this, we're going to do 4 rounds. Well, I'm going to do 4 rounds of no increase. And on the 5th round, I will again do two double crochets into every 20th stitch. And that's how that's going to go till I've increased the width to a width that I'm happy with. And that's it. That's how it's going. I will continue to... So yes, I'm really not sure. I mean, I don't think I'm going to have enough left of this yarn, which is really kind of annoying. I might have to go and get more. The only problem is the place where I get this from, and I've only ever seen this one, it hasn't got any more of these ones. It's got this one in different colours. So I will probably have to get that, which I'm not unhappy about. I mean, it will be interesting. And I suppose because I do need to add straps to this. So we are going to be meeting up for the straps. So once I've put in the skirt, yes, I will meet back up with you for the straps. And obviously you'll see if I had to get the other yarn, which I probably will, and we'll see how it looks. It's going to look okay. I mean, it will be different, you know. So that's it. Every 20th stitch. How many have I done? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and then into this 20th, we're going to do 2 stitches. 1 and 2. There you go. And that's it. Do that the whole way around. Anyway, that's it. That's all I need to say. I'm not going to go on more. I'll meet back up with you when the skirt is finished, and we'll talk about how we're going to do the straps. Alright, see you soon. Alright, so I didn't have enough of this yarn left to finish the skirt, so I went and got the other one that I was telling you about. It is a slightly different yarn, unfortunately, but it's not too dissimilar. I think the ply is mostly the same, so that's good. But while this one, the one that we've already used, I think it's 100%, yeah, it's 100% acrylic, and this one is 80% acrylic and 20% wool. So that's going to be pretty interesting, just because pure wool tends to make me a little bit stuffy. But that's okay, I'm going to push through it, and it's going to be nice. Mixing up the colours, you know. So this time I'm starting with the inside, because we're going to be putting the edging in at the moment and the straps on the side just there. So we're going to be doing that. I'm starting with what's come from the centre this time. Just because I don't want to use this lighter colour. I think it's like a very, very light sort of greeny blue. I don't know whether you can see that. So yeah, we're going to be doing that for the straps. And then the rest of it, I'll be starting with the outside stuff to put in for the skirt. You know, anyway, so that's what we're doing. We should just get started with this. So what we're going to do to put in the edging and the straps is, we're not going to get tangled. Push this to the side. I'm going to take the end of my yarn and I'm going to make a slip knot as usual. So what we're going to do is making sure the right side is facing towards you, and I'm going to be starting where we left off on the square. So that part where we left off on the square, If we were going to do another round of the square, we would have chained up and would have turned to this side anyway. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drop my hook, and then what I'm going to do after that is I'm going to stick my hook through that first stitch just there. So just into there on the side of the square. We're going to go in there. We're going to try not to have too many more mishaps, and we're going to adjust that knot that we made to the hook, pull it through that stitch, pull tight, and we're going to chain up 1. Now I'm going to crochet these ends in as I go along, and what we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting a single crochet just in there next to that slip knot and chain of 1. Going into the next stitch along, we're going to put a single crochet, and basically we're just putting in single crochet edging all the way around. Now once you get to where we put in the skirt, we're going to meet back up and we're going to move on to that together. Alright, see you in a moment. Alright, now here I am. I've gone down the side of the square with those single crochets. So now what we've got is that stitch that's double crochet just there, or that sort of cluster of double crochets, where we did that 1 row after the square before we put in the skirt. And what we're going to do is we're going to put a single crochet into that stitch just there, then into the sides just there. Just look for places to put a single crochet, so you can just go into that chain of 2 space like that, then into that next part of that, I'd say that sort of cluster part, just going to go in there with a single crochet. Just do it as neat as you can. Sort of make sure you're keeping an edging going around. So what you're going to do now is move on to the stitches along the bottom just here for the skirt, for that chain that we did. So what you're going to do is just go in around that part just there. You can just go in like that. It doesn't really matter. Or maybe it does. I don't know. What can we do? What can we do? We can just sort of go in there like that. That's a bit neater. There we go. And now we've moved on to the stitches just here of the skirt. So what you're going to do is just put single crochet stitches all along the bottom here. That one doesn't look too neat, and I'm not sure why. So yeah, that's what you're going to do. If it helps, count how many single crochets you're doing across to reflect the amount of chains that you did. So for me that would be 66. I'm not quite sure what happened there with that. Alright, I think I figured it out. So the stitch is a little bit twisted. There we go. So because we put our stitches into that chain along the bumps on the back, it's given us that braid at the top just there to work with. So you can go into beneath both parts of that braid for all of your single crochets across. It might be a little bit tight, but persevere. And it's definitely a lot easier than when we put the stitches into those bumps along the back. So just going in there like that. So that's it. That's what we're doing. And then once you get to the end of the chain, you're going to move on to, so we're going to go right around the skirt just like this. I don't know where that's come from. I'm going to go right around here just like this till you get to the other side, and you're just going to be putting your single crochets up the other side of the square. So again, just move from that last sort of single crochet just there on the chain. So where's that? That would be just there, into that stitch just there. You're going to move on to putting a single crochet in there, and then one in there perhaps, and then you can sort of put another one around the first part of that cluster, so just in there, and then you'll be moving on to the stitches all the way up the side of the square. So when you get to the top of the square, I'm going to meet you at this point, and that's where we're going to be adding the straps. And yeah, I think I'm going to add it, yeah, round about just there. So I'll meet you at the other side of this square up the top, and we'll do the straps together. All right, I'll see you at that point. Okay, so here I am up the other side of the square. So I've put my my last single crochet has gone into the final stitch of that first cluster of 3 just at the top, just there in the corner. So what we're going to do now is, where am I? There we are. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm chaining one length, so we're doing 2 straps obviously, this one on this side and the other one on the other side. The first one is going to be 300. I'm going to chain a chain of 300, and the other one is going to be 350, because I want when I tie the straps up, and you'll see at the end what that's like, I want the tie to be at the side. So not at the back, not at the front. I want it to be at the side. So you'll see what I mean by that at the end. For now, what we're going to do. What we're going to do is chain a length of 300. So straight from this stitch that we've done. There we go. Straight from this stitch, chaining 300. So 1, 2, 3, 300. Alright, now then, here I am with my lengths of 300. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to slip stitch into the second chain from the hook. So not that one just there, not that one just there, but the next one along. You're going to slip stitch just like this. So you go in, and then we're going to slip stitch into every chain all the way back to the beginning of this chain of 300, which I know seems very tedious. It's like I say, well, I don't know if I've said this before, but, you know, what I'm going to be doing is just sort of, you know, listen to something, watch a show, listen to an audiobook, you know, do something like that while you're doing something as tedious as this, and the time sort of goes by quicker, you know. All right, so do that. I'm going to do that. We'll do it separately. We'll meet back up once we get back down to the end of this chain of 300 with the slip stitches. Talk about what we're going to do next. All right, see you in a moment. All right, and here I am all the way back down to the beginning of that chain of 300. So what I'm going to do now is just straight from the last slip stitch, we're going to single crochet into the next stitch along of the square. So just like that. And now all you're doing is putting in a single crochet till you get to the last of the first cluster of 3 in this corner. Once you've done that, you're going to, okay, so because we're going to have the straps falling to the side when we do them up, for this one, you're going to chain a length of 350. So it'll be 350 for this one, and again, you're going to be slip stitching back down to the beginning of that 350. Once you've done that, you're going to just single crochet down the side here till you get to the chain of 1 right here. Once you've done your final stitch, which is going to be into that one just here, you're going to slip stitch into the stitch at the top of that chain of 1 just there from the beginning to close up the edging. And then once you've done that, you're going to chain 1, cut the yarn, pull through that chain to tie it off, secure it, pull tight, and that's it. You've done the straps. So once I've done that, all I'll need to do is, you know, finish the skirt. I'm still increasing a little bit. It's not as wide. But anyway, you know what? I've already explained all that. I don't think I need to explain anything else. I think we're done. We're finished with the tutorial. Now we just need to go away. We need to finish up our dresses. Once we've done that, we're going to meet back up. We're going to try on our dresses. We're going to see how they look. You know, I think they're going to look okay. They look pretty good. It's been a very interesting experiment. It's been quite a journey for this dress because it's gone through its various different stages. I will be doing the initial design that I wanted to do. I think I'm going to do it in a lighter fabric. So a lighter sort of cotton yarn for that. That's what I'm going to do. Just because it is now going into summer and it's getting a lot warmer. So yeah, anyway. I won't go on at all. We'll just go do this separately. And yes, I can't wait to see you soon out in the courtyard. All right, see you then. Alrighty, here is the finished dress. Yes. So as you can see, very, very quick, very simple to make. Obviously, depending on how long you want the skirt to be, then that would make it a little bit longer. But all in all, a pretty quick dress. Nice, cute, and fun. This is actually very thick yarn, so I'm going to have to make some in a thinner yarn, especially since it's getting a lot hotter here now. So yes, there's that. Yeah. So as you can see, the straps thread through the sides where the double crochets are. It's very easy to thread them like that. But that's it. Alright, yes. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.